talking about visibility, scope, and multiplicity also in this section, right? So here, what is a classifier? Is a kind of UML element that is used to define some common features, right? Just hold on. Yeah. So here, a classifier is a kind of UML element that is used to define some common features in terms of structural attribute as well as behavioral operations. So class, interface, data types, use case, collaboration, node, signal, and subsystem all are example of classifier. So if you talk about use case, you talk about collaboration, you talk about node, signal, all are part of classifier. A class is an important type of classifier, right? So class is also a classifier. Class, interface, data, whatever we see. So interface is a classifier. It is a collection of named operations that describe the behavior of an element. Data type, its values have no identity, including primitive built-in type. Node, it is a runtime physical object that denotes a computational resource. Signal, and asynchronous event communicated between objects. Use case, it is a list of stages that explain how a process will be carried out in a system. And component, a component is used to split the actual system into various modular parts. So these are your classifiers. Actually, these will be used in different diagram. Class is used in class diagram. You can use interface. You can use data type. You can use node also. Node in your deployment diagram. You can use signal in uh, in your different timing diagrams are there, interaction diagrams in your behavioral diagram. You can use use case also in a use case diagram. Component diagram, you can use component. So these are the different classifiers you will be using, UML elements, you can say, in your different diagram. Like this is an example of class which we have seen graphical illustration of class. The identifier is this, interface is this, signal is this, data type is this, node is this, component is this. These are the graphical notation of the classifiers. So these are the different classifiers you have, right? Then you also, what is visibility? Visibility is that the access specifiers, that you can use it publicly, you can use it privately, or you can use it through protected. So those are your visibility feature. So a classifier can be accessed by other classifiers like visibility, right? So you have public, private, and protected, and one more is there, package. So public is plus symbol is used for public visibility, negative minus symbol or negative sign is used for private, then hash sign is used for protected, and tilde sign is used for package. So in the same package or a module, you will use a tilde sign, right? Then for multiplicity, again we have seen one zero or many, one or many, right? So this is many, zero or many. This is zero or one. This is one or more. So these all the different things which we have seen earlier also. What is scope? The visibility is one of the important features, and we have seen it has been applied to attribute and operations of the classifier. Visibility plus minus, public private. In the same direction, another feature also applied to the classifier attribute and operation is scope. That this feature signifies that an attribute or an operation has the existence in all the instances of the classifier, or only one copy is available and is shared across the instances of the classifier. So there are two types of scope specifiers as instances and class scope. The class scope feature is written as underlined on a class diagram like this. So this school has class scope, that is inside the class only it can use, or it has instance, that me for example, as instance and class scope they are saying. So you can use it as class scope or instance scope. So here the school attribute has default value associated and it is static in nature. So this is a class scope here they have shown with underline. Then you have attributes. When you design classes in UML, you can specify more features like multiplicity, visibility, and scope and attribute name. Besides these features, you can also specify the type, initial value, variability of each type. We have already seen that. So you can say what is the visibility, public, private, plus or minus, right? You can give the name of the attribute. You can give the multiplicity also here, zero or many or whatever. You can give the colon type, that is data type. What is the data type of that attribute? Then equal to, you can give the value and the property string. That means it is what kind of type it is. You can give that, like here name, only name you can give, or you can say plus name. This is the visibility. Then you can give the name and visibility of that particular data type, and you can say name, the multiplicity, colon the data type, hyphen name, multiplicity and type. You can give any format you want to use, right? Then operations also similar is that visibility, name of the operation, you can give the parameter list, colon the return type or the property string. You can give that, right? That is there. Then here, for example, right, login name only plus login. This is the you can give here the visibility plus, then the name of the operation, then name with visibility you can give, then again visibility, login, and where this is a parameter list you can give, and the name and property. You can also give the data type accordingly if you want the return type. So that is there. You can give any kind of thing you want for the operations also, right? So you can give simple thing also, like we have seen here in the diagram. Where was that object diagram? Here, like this also you can give, or you can give with a data type, return type. You can give plus minus also. Visibility can also be added. So that is there. So they are talking about all those things. So as you wish, you can design that. Advanced relationship, then they are talking about, so the different types of relationship. We talked about dependency relationship, right? Like the here in UML modeling, dependency describe the relationship among elements in which one element is dependent on another element. It means that if changes occur in one element, it will affect the other element. So this type of relationship come with named elements such as classes, interface, component, packages, dependencies graphically. So you can have packages also, you can have components also, you can have classes also. Dependency relationship can be between any one of them. So in this, these are the packages they are talking about, or the components: web store, bookstore, payment, card, right? So these are the packages, and in this they are showing a dependency graphically with shown as a dashed line like this. Web store payment, web store is dependent on payment. Payment is dependent on the cart. Bookstore is dependent on, again, on the payment, like that, right? So with a dashed line, the dependency is shown, right? So that is a dependency relationship where one element is dependent on another element, right? The web store and bookstore package run through the depends on payment package. So until the payment package is not there, web store and bookstore will not help you. Right. As usage is a dependency relationship between one element requires another element or set of elements for its operation. So that is what they are talking about. Then UML defines a number of keywords or stereotypes that may be used for dependency relationship, like import and access stereotypes. So what is import? And this is access, right? There is import also, right? So by using access stereotype, the source package permits access to an element of the target package, right? Source package is permits access to an element of the target package, right? The three stereotypes such as call, copy, and become are used when modeling interaction among objects. In a similar manner, some stereotypes such as instance of, instantiate, bind, and friend are used to dependency relationship among classes and objects in class diagram. So if you want, you can use import if you are importing something. If you are accessing something, so you can use them also. They are also there. These are also the stereotypes you can use in your dependency relationship. Generalization relationship is parent-child relationship, which we have shown, right? So here, association relationship is a simple relationship between classes. Association is a structural relationship used to specify that objects of one element are connected to objects of another element. So there are two types of association. One is aggregation, which is one form of association where you specify a whole part relationship between the aggregate whole and the component part. For example, university has many schools. It is an example of aggregation, right? So school are part of the university, so that means an aggregation relationship, which is shown with a diamond, right? For advanced uses, there are number of other properties you can use to model refined details such as navigation and qualification. A qualified association communicates two object classes with the qualifier. The qualifier is a special attribute that usually describes the actual multiplicity of an association from many to one, but not always. For example, IGNOU University has many regional offices and there are many officers working. So what they have shown is this is a kind of a qualification they have shown. This is IGNOU University, and this is the organization under IGNOU, that is RC, Regional Center Office. And this regional center had many persons or officers working in there, right? So IGNOU University has many regional offices and there are many officers working. So this example represents qualified many-to-many association. So this kind of a thing you can use for qualification or qualified association, you can say. So association is simple. We have already seen that in earlier sections also. So they in check progress 2, they are asking you question, what are class diagram in UML? Define the features used for making the class diagram, which we have seen earlier. Differentiate between generalization and association. They are talking generalization is inheritance and association is simple association. It can be aggregation or composition. What is qualified association? So this is what qualified association is. This part is a qualified association, right? You can give the example. Then they are talking about interface type and role. So far we have seen the classes with the which display the abstraction, right? At times you will need to isolate the implementation of a class from its specifications, and this can be stated in the UML by using interfaces, right? So almost every created class shows abstraction. It means that the class visualizes only those properties which are important and ignores the rest. So at times you need to isolate the implementation of a class from its specification. So that is the thing. You can define any number of operations in interface to provide services to a class or component, but you can neither define any attribute nor any implementation of the operation in the interface. So in an interface, you will not define the attribute or operations. Only you will define that this is the interface which is working with the which is giving service to the class. That is what is there. A type is a stereotype of class used to specify attributes, operations, but does not have methods. So type is a stereotype of class which specify the attribute and operation but does not have methods. It is generally used to in the analysis process to identify the objects for a system. It is just like conceptual classes because it gives an idea of possible classes. So they do not have methods and instances. So like here, development head, system manager, HR manager. Here in above they have given type, that is interface type, right? So this kind of a thing. So the role is the behavior of an object contributing to a particular context. In other words, you can say that role is a phase that denotes an abstraction that shows the real world. For example, consider an instance of a class employee. An employee in a bank may play the role of branch manager, worker, and officer. When it deals with a customer, it behaves depending upon the role. When it plays the role of branch manager, would represent different properties than if they play as a worker. It is diagrammatically shown in figure 2.14. You may define, so here interface and roles they are talking about. So interface is worker, right? So employee and bank employee can work as a worker also or a branch manager also, depends. So this worker is an interface which will be working with the class, which will be working with the class only, right? So employee class and you have bank class, they have a relationship that employee is a worker of the bank, right? So worker is the role, and that is the role. And this worker interface is also defined separately. Get name, their details. This is so interface and class. So like a class, an interface may play a part in dependency, generalization, association relationship. Besides, an interface may also involve in realization relationship. So realization is a semantic relationship between two classifiers in which one classifier specifies a contract that another classifier guarantees to carry out. Realization is a kind of relationship and it differs from others such as dependency, generalization, and association. So you can use interfaces also, right? But generally we will not be drawing interfaces generally, but you can draw interfaces also in a diagram, and you can also write roles if you want in a diagram. You also have another diagram which is known as package diagram, right? So generally a single class diagram can contain too many classes. UML permits us to place a set of related classes together. Just hold on for a second. Yeah, sorry. So we were talking about package diagram. So there is another diagram in UML which is known as package diagram. So UML permits us to place a set of related classes together into a group called package. So if you combine different classes, that is known as a package, right, together. So it is a kind of structural diagram that displays the system structure of the level of packages. So first structure diagram we talked about was class diagram. Now we are talking about package diagram, collection of classes. So package is used for organizing elements into groups. A package can have a sub package also. The package diagram can display structure as well as dependencies between subsystem also. So the dependencies are shown by using dotted arrows if you have dependency. In import dependency, functionality has been imported from one package to another. So if there is import dependency, that is you are importing the functionality from one package to another, while access dependency designates that one package needs assistance from the functions of another package, right? So access means that you are accessing certain functions from another package, and import means that you are importing a whole package into another. For example, many packages have only one library file, that is lib directory, and these types of packages are used by other packages. So that will be access. You can just import or use it in your application. It is a depending package that your package needs in order to work. Sometimes your package is accessed by another package, or a package that is dependent on your package is called a dependent package. So a plus sign within a circle is drawn at the end attached to the package, indicating that the package has branches or sub packages, like this. Plus sign within a circle is that these packages have sub packages or dependency packages. So a package can be dependent on another package. So with the dotted arrow, dashed arrow, you can show that, or you can show plus a circle. A sub package can be shown like this. So this is a symbol for package. This is how they have shown it, right? So package is also there. So package are also more helpful to organize a large model. So you can show it within a package are supported by Java. Classes in one package cannot access the classes and services in another package unless the package is imported. So that is what a package is depicted as a folder and is displayed as a rectangle with a tab at the top left, like this. A rectangle with a tab at the top, like this. This is a package symbol, right? Then basic components of a package they are talking about. The package is a namespace used to combine logically related elements within a system, and each element should be packageable element that consist of components, use cases, and packages themselves. So you have visibility of a package also, plus minus. Again, plus means public and minus means private. Protected or package visibility is not allowed. So protected package visibility is not allowed here. Only plus and minus are allowed. Then package diagram example they have given you. So the package diagram shows 5 elements: package, import, access, use, and merge. Right here, these are use and merge is also there. So you have a web store and a bookstore packages. These two packages merge the cart store, right? That means merge the cart store means that means you the web store and bookstore both are merged into a cart store. They can be the elements of web store and bookstore can be merged in a cart store. The two packages merge the cart package and use the payment package. So that is they are using the use is there using the payment package. The payment and cart package import the packages like the customer and inventory. So they are the payment is importing the customer and
Excuse
cart is
me,
also
ma'am.
importing the customer. Yes,
Ma'am, actually your screen is not visible. We are not. Have you shared your screen?
I am sharing my screen. You are not able to see. I again share it
No, ma'am. I'm not able to see your screen. The last half an hour, I'm not able to see your screen.
now.
No, no, it's
No, no,
see,
not now. Is now also. We are not able to see your screen.
You're not able to
it's
see my
visible.
It is
screen.
visible.
It's
It is
visible.
visible
The
to everyone else
ping
now.
ping my
Yeah, it's
name.
showing
If you are
also.
not able to see it, ping
Yes,
my
ma'am,
name.
visible.
I have pinned your name already. For last half an hour, I thought you have not shared your screen.
So just close the session and again log in if you are not able to see. Others are able to see it.
Okay, okay, okay,
Close the session and again log in.
okay.
right? So there are two packages, merge and cart package and use the payment package. So they are using the payment package. So the use is used here, right? And the payment package is importing the customer and the cart package, right? So that there is, and the cart package is also importing the inventory also, inventory package. So this is how they are doing. Right. So web store is merging to the cart. Bookstore is also merging to the cart. That means bookstore items can be merged to the cart. Web store items can be merged to the cart. And the web store is using the payment, right? And the bookstore is also using the payment package. And the payment package is importing the customer. And cart is also importing the customer. And also the cart is also importing the inventory package. Right? So this is a package diagram. This is how they have shown the package diagram. So you have import, you have access, you have use, and you have merge. Right. Then instance and object diagram they are talking about. Again, instance diagram define how a particular group of objects relate to each other. Instance diagram describe object instances. So an instance diagram is used to display examples for clarification of complex class diagram. So if you have drawn a class diagram, you can create an instance and object diagram also through that. So how do you do that? Suppose you have a car class, car company class, you can say. So what the name of the car will be the object value, object name, right? So like this. So display a class diagram and its instances. The instance diagram is defined in rounded box like this. So class is in a rectangle. A rounded rectangle will be the instance, right? With the name of the instance also. Objects such as Tata Motors, Hindustan Motors Limited, right? And an anonymous car company are instances of class car company, right? So these are the instances, you can say, examples, right? So object diagram define the instance of a class. It envisions a particular functionality of a system. As you know, objects are real entities and its behavior is defined by the classes. So you cannot define an object without its class. So an object is usually linked to other objects in an object diagram. So notation of object diagram and class diagram are simple. So like here, you will give object name colon classifier, that is the class name. This is the notation for object diagram. In object diagram, you will do that. So like here, if your class diagram has the car as the name of the class, name and price are the attribute, add car and remove car are the operations. So if you have to make the object for object diagram for this kind of a thing, so two instances or two car objects can be made. Renault is the name of the car, colon car is the class, name is equal to Kiger, price is equal to 8 lakh. The values will be given. Same way, Hyundai colon car, name of the car we are talking about is Hyundai, and that is part of the car class. Name is equal to I-20 and price is 7 lakh, like that. These are the objects we have created with this car class. So object and class diagram similar on a certain point, but both have dissimilarity too. The class diagram represent an abstract model containing classes and their relationship, while an object diagram denotes an instance at a particular moment. That means instance means the value at a particular moment. So in Renault with the name Kiger and the value price is given. That is what object diagram is representing here, or objects are represented here with an instance. Same way, suppose you have a country class and with the name attribute, name as the attribute, right? And another, it has border with another country, so it is pointing to itself only. The association is with itself only. It has border with another country. So suppose if you have to make a out of this class diagram, if you have to make an object diagram, India is a country, India colon country, India object plus name. Just hold on. Sorry for the inconvenience actually. So we are returning back. So we were talking about how we can define an object diagram through a class diagram. So if we are making a country class like this, right, and we are saying that which country borders the other country. So this is a class diagram we are talking about. So here we are making the object India as the country name, and so we are saying name is equal to India, right? Borders with the other country is Nepal, right? And it borders with China. Nepal borders with China, like that, right? So this is the name or instance we are giving for the this class. So this is our object diagram we are creating. This is how we create an object diagram from a class diagram by giving the instance. So in check progress 3, they are saying what is modeling, what are the advantages of creating a model, what is the role of interface in UML model, what are package diagrams and their basic components, how many types of dependencies are used in package. So you have use, merge, access, and import. What is object diagram? Explain with example. So this they have given you the I've told you they have given you answers also. So you can go through the answers of at the back of your. This is modeling. This is the package. What is a package diagram? What is an object diagram? So they have given you the answers also to this. So this was your unit 1 and 2 of block 1. Then we have unit 3. So this is unit 3. This is about behavioral. Now we talked about structural diagram, that is your class diagram and object diagram and the package diagram. Now they are talking about behavioral modeling using UML. So in behavioral modeling, structural modeling, we talked about package, object and class. Now in behavioral or dynamic modeling, we will be talking about use case diagram and sequence diagram and collaboration diagram and activity diagram. So these are the diagrams we will be talking about. So we have seen in the object modeling that there are in UML you have two types of, one is structural modeling, the other is dynamic behavioral modeling. In structural modeling we talked about the class and all that. In dynamic modeling we will be talking about the use case and all diagrams. That is what we will be representing. So this is not again the classification of UML model which was given in your second unit. The different diagrams which are given here. Where was it? This is the same diagram. This is the diagram which they are depicting in this unit 3 also, right? So now basics of behavioral modeling they are talking about, that the behavioral model helps to narrate the internal parameters of the entire system which supports all the activities of an organization. It also expresses the system's internal logic without determining how the process is to be executed. The detailed design and implementation phase describe the complete operation of the object. So when an analyst is attempting to understand the fundamental application domain of a problem, then it should consider both the structural aspects of the problem. So interactive process integrates the individual behavioral model, functional and structural model. So this is what they are talking about. So you have different diagrams in your behavioral model also, which is showing you the dynamic aspects of the system. So the behavioral model, you have use case diagram, you have interaction diagram where you have sequence and communication diagram and activity diagram, which we will be talking about, right? So in interactions in every active system, objects interact with each other by passing messages. So an interaction is a behavior of objects. By passing a set of messages among objects, we try to achieve some objectives. So an interaction is a behavior that contains a set of messages that constitute a set of objects to accomplish the defined objective. So a message is a description of communication between two or more objects that process the information with the expectation of a result. So we have talked about object diagram already, right, where we define the objects, then links and other things, association and other things. So we also talked about how we can create an instance, right? That is suppose a patient is there, a patient or patient 1 of the patient class, and the name of the patient is Akash, date of birth. So with the values, if you give, that becomes a class. Or a diagram is this, and the object diagram will be the values with that. So they have not filled, they have not given you the filled versions, but that is what is given here. Then actions, that means it is named element and that represents a movement from one stage to another stage. It represents a single step within the operation. Every action has some input and output, like fill order, check-in, post enrollment, display error. So whatever actions are there, that will be your operations or whatever will be there, right? So operations, so features of a class are represented in the form of attribute and operation. Operation is represented in form of block. Two top rows represent the name of the class, and the middle represent the class attribute, and a third represent the operation of the class. We have already seen that. Then you can also give signal. When an activity performs any operation, then it sends and receives messages, which is known as signals. It is an asynchronous event. In the given figure, CSC 201 seminar represent the signal, and the parameter of signal is term is equal to final. So they have not given you that thing, but later on we will be talking about those things in the diagram. Then link is your association, relationship between object and classes. So link attribute, you can also give a link attribute also. So it assigns a value of a specific instance of the link for each pair of the object, right? So that you can give. So that is what so link here they are talking about an object is an instance of a class. Object can be represented. So here they are talking about the class diagram only, so I'm not going for that. So here what they have done is customer and order are two classes. So suppose this is customer, this is order, whatever are two classes on the class diagram. These classes represent a one-to-many relationship because a customer can issue multiple orders. Customer's class has two functions. So customer class have two functions, send order and receive order. So there will be two operations in the customer class. While order class have two functions, confirm and close. So order class will also have two operations, confirm and close. Order class have abstract classes which are represented as special order and normal order. That means there are two subclasses of the order class, special order and normal order. The two inherited classes are used to additional functions like dispatch and receive. So confirm and close, and here these will have another operations also, dispatch and receive, these two operations. So and then they have created an object diagram also. The object diagram it describes a scholar who go to attend seminar can be waitlisted for attending it, or it may be a teaching assistant for it. In the object diagram, Alok and Amara research assistant and CSC 201, while Shruti is teaching assistant TA for CSC 201. Shreya is research assistant and Neha is waitlisted. Object diagram also describes the seminar is the instance of the course research methodology RM class. So here they are describing the object diagram. So we have already seen that. Right, then again they have asked you the check progress question. Behavioral model describe external parameter, internal parameter, both A and B. So behavioral diagram will describe the internal or external parameter or both. What will behavioral diagram or dynamic describe? The internal parameters, right? Then every action has input, output, input and output. Every action has input and output. Right, signals perform any operation by dash by sending and receiving messages. So signals is performed by sending and receiving messages. Then links is used to establish the relationship between objects and classes. Right, so that is there. Then they are talking about the first behavioral diagram, and which is known as the use case or use case diagram. So objects of applying object-oriented principles. So first diagram which we are talking about, which will be showing you the dynamic aspect of the system or dynamic behavior of the system, which measures the performance of the system, is the use case diagram. Right. So the use case diagram, first you should know every diagram which you will be studying, you should know the definition of that diagram. So use case diagram is used to express the dynamic expression of a system. It is used to determine the internal and external impact of the system requirements. These specifications are based on design requirements. Therefore, when a system is required to collect its functionalities, use cases are prepared and actors are used. The objective of the use case can be described as follows: to identify the requirement of a system. So basically, use case is a diagram which is showing you the internal and external impact of the system requirement, right? So you will find all the all the requirements which are there for the system will be shown in the use case. To identify the requirement of a system, to get the external perspective of a system, to identify the internal and external factors that influence the system, show the relationship between actors. So there will be actors and there will be use cases. So we will talk about that. It also describes the flow of the event, how the data is flowing from one actor to the use case or whatever. So elements of use case diagram, it is used to capture the business processing of a system. It is of two types. One is used for representing the business role and the other is used for business processing. The basic elements which constitute a use case diagram are system, right? So you will have a system. So these are the graphical representation. What all you will use in your the elements you will use in your use case diagram. So you will have a system. A system is like a boundary which defines the scope of a system. Rectangles are used to draw system boundaries. So a rectangle will be used that contain a use case, and actors are used outside the system boundaries. So inside the system, there will be use cases. So in a rectangle, you can use use cases, and outside the system will be the actors who will be interacting with the use cases. So system can work only with limited functionalities. Use case needs to have appropriately defined limits. Then what are use cases which will be used inside the system? So it is used to describe a part of the system functionality that enables access to the functionalities. So it will describe the part of the system functionality, like a module, you can say. Suppose this system is an ATM system. The name of the system is ATM system. So what all use cases will be there in the, so an oval will be the use case, right? Inside the oval, you will write the name of the use case or the module. Like in an ATM system, there will be a machine for putting the debit or credit card or whatever, right? So you that will be one part. Then you can take debit or you can credit to the account from the ATM. So that will be another use case, something like that. So different modules or different use cases will be prepared here. So label the oval with verb that represent the system function. The objective behind use cases is to describe interaction, right? So flow of information. So use case will be defined. Then actors. What are actors? Actors are the users of the system. So users of a system perform the role of actors in the use case diagram. An actor performs as an entity with fixed roles in each system. In the situation when one system is the actor of another system, label the actor system with actor image like this. So actor can be a administrator, can be a receptionist, can be so a person who performs services to the counter is known as an actor, right? So an actor plays a role that a human, a hardware device, or maybe a system plays within the system. That is what an actor. So role of actors: an actor is a user or external system that moves a system, that will move the system or that will run the system. That the person who is running the system or moving the system is an actor, right? So the role of an actor is equated with determining the behavior of the associated system. For example, different types of actor perform the activity at the bank ATM. The customer are the actors, card holders are the main actors, while customer A and card A participate as sub actor of the system. So whatever. So there are various actors associated with the ATM system: a bank customer, a card holder. A customer can access the ATM for various types of ATM transaction. A card is responsible for credit card and debit card to withdraw the amount from the ATM. And customer can withdraw money, check balance, deposit. Who is the customer of the bank? Right, so that is there. There are other customers also. Customer means other customers who can do various transactions on the. They are not part of that customer of that bank, but they have other banks customer, but they can access the ATM also. So that is what they are showing. So here, if you see, this is your system ATM. This is your system ATM. inside the system you have oval like card with cash withdrawal or deposit, whatever you can do, balance check, whatever. These will be use cases. Withdrawal will be one use case, deposit will be one use case, balance will be one use case, right? So these kind of thing, password change, pin change, whatever, right? So so you can name a customer like, hey, this is a bank customer, these are other customers, and this is administrator who or bank administrator or whatever who will be seeing all the processes which are happening in the ATM, like that. So you can make the role of actors or customers. Now, how to draw a use case diagram? Use case diagrams are used to define the functionalities of a system. When the diagrams are considered for high level analysis, object relationship and their guidelines should be clearly defined. Actors can perform as a user or they may perform as internal or external application. We should consider the following items when drawing a use case diagram. Identify all the use cases. So you should know what all use cases you will be using. Then identify all the actors, who all will be the actors of the system. Generalize the relationship between use case and actors, that what is the relationship between them, that the customer withdraws money, so that kind of a relationship you should define. Following guidelines should be followed to draw a use case diagram. Use case is used to identify the requirement. Use case name reflect the functionalities of the object. We need to have appropriate name for actors. Relationship and dependencies are specified in the use case diagram. Name should be defined in such a manner that it reflects the functionality it performs. Relationship and dependencies are clearly defined in use case diagram. So relationship and dependency should be defined. Here they have not drawn the use case diagram, but they are saying the use case diagram represents the order management system. So the system name, instead of ATM, here you will write order management system. This is the system boundary. In this diagram, 3 use cases: food order, lunch order, breakfast order. So in here you can say food order, breakfast order, lunch order. These are the use cases. In the oval you will write, right? And one actor in the role of user or customer are there. So only one actor is there, that is the user or customer, right? So that is there. Then the lunch order and breakfast order are the extensions of the use case order, right? So they are extension of a use case order. So you can say you can make an order and you can make an extension of that thing, that is lunch order and breakfast order of the food order. You can make an extension of that. Therefore, they have extended relationship. So extended relationship is shown with a dotted line, right? We will show you in a diagram later on. In the given diagram, the account customer lies outside the system as it is an external user. So the customer will be outside the system and inside will be the use case, right? So following guidelines should be followed to draw use case diagram. Use case is used to identify the requirements. Use case, we have already seen that, right? Then dependencies. So every model consists of many use cases. These use cases are used to define the different functionalities of a system. There are 2 types of dependencies known as include and extended. So in this you are extending. In this you are saying extension of the use case food order. Extension of food order are lunch order and breakfast order. Extended relationship is there. So there are 2 kinds of dependencies, include and extended, which are used in use case. Dependencies information is used by the use case to execute a system functionality. So if it is an include dependency, specialized types of dependencies are known as include dependencies. These are different possibilities to log the activities of a project management system. These possibilities may be as a project manager, resource manager, and system administrator to interact with the system. So figure 3.9 elaborate the use case, while the second figure defines the activities of the project manager, resource manager, system administrator as they log into the system and they use the use case of the diagram. So they are just giving you an example. Include dependency is used to make the relationship between one use case called a base case to another use case called an inclusion use case. The base case is called the inclusion use case. It is shown by the dashed arrow line from the base use case to the inclusion use case as shown in figure 3.10. So here like this. From the, they are saying it is shown as a dashed arrow line from the base use case to the inclusion use case. right? So like this is included in this base use case. These use cases like this with a dashed line. The base use case monitors the behavior sequence of the steps to include the inclusion use case. So these kind of this is how it is shown. That this use case is used in this base case. This use case is included in this. This use case is included in this. Like this, it is shown. So include dependency behavior is the same as a use case. It is common to other use cases and added as different use cases which can be reused in other use cases. So in figure 3.9, the log activity of use case is included in the manage project, manage resource, administrator system use case. Right. So here what they are saying, the manage project use case is included in the manage log activity. Log activity use case is included in the manage project, manage resource, manage administrator system use case included in this. Manage project, the log activity is included. In manage resource, the log activity is included, and administrator system resource also manage log activities included. Then you have extend dependency apart from include. So the use case with optional behavior is made with various activities and tasks. Various activities are performed during the execution of the project. The project manager manages projects by maintaining the system activities and its tasks. It also addresses the situations by adding the behavior of use cases. So use case with optional behavior. An extended dependency extends a use case from one use case known as the extension use case to another use case known as base use case. So a single use case may cover multiple use cases or multiple use cases covered by single use case by using the extended keyword. So here they are saying that one use case known as the extension use case to another use case. That means you are extending. A single use case may cover multiple use cases or multiple use cases covered by a single use case by using the extended keyword. The base use case detects the behavior sequence of the extended use case added in the project. So extend line is denoted by dashed arrow line to extend the above use cases. The arrow here in the include, the arrow will be pointing to the include one. This is showing wrongly. Arrow should be here. Arrow should be here. This is include. In the extend, what is happening is this is extended here, included here. So if we insert another behavior sequence in a use case at any location, then it is known as extension point. Extension point is represented inside the compartment with an extension point followed by a colon with a proper description and location of the extension in the use case behavior sequence. So when we will be doing practical, we will be seeing how this diagram is actually made. If I show you an example of the use case, let me show you. So let us see how the use case is designed for, like here, if you see this one. This is use case diagram and order management system. This is your system. You have order use case, special order, and normal order. So the one which we had seen earlier. So order, the special order is the order. The arrow points to the order, extends the special order. Order is extended special order, and order is extended to normal order. Extends with a dotted line pointing to the order. Right. This is an extend relationship, and customer is the actor. This was the example which was shown in your book. This is a simple use case. Extend relationship is shown here. And another example, if we give, so we are talking about all these things. So like here they are giving an example of a cellular phone. Actor, one is cellular phone, the other is customer, and another actor is external phone company. So cellular phone can handle message, can handle call, and cellular phone company will be managing the handle message and handle call, and customer will pay the bill. Bill payment will be done by the customer. So these are the three use cases in the system, right? So this is how you show these are the actors. This is a use case, and these are the associations with the actor and the use case they are showing. So the actor is represented like this, right? Use case is represented like this in an oval. So you have connection between the actor and use case with a line association. Boundary system is this, and this is include relationship between use cases. One use case must call another, so then it is include. Login use case includes user authentication use case. Login use case includes user authentication use case, so that is an include. Then extend. If you talk about extend, again a dot. This will be a dotted line, not a full line. This will be a dotted line with an arrow. Extend relationship between use cases. One use case calls another under certain condition. Think of if then decision points. If there is a condition and you want to call another use case, then it will be extend, right? So that is there. So you have association, generalization, include and extend, right? So that is there. So as generalization will be similar, a triangle, that parent and child relationship, if you want to show, like registration is a use case, and there are two types of registration: non-graduate registration and graduate registration. So it is shown in generalization. So here is an example they have given you, like order registry clerk is an actor and customer is an actor, internet customer and normal and non-internet customer. So normal customer and internet customer, two types of customers are there. So the order registry clerk is handling the place order use case, and there are two types of orders in the place order. Another one is of hospital reception. Hospital reception. There is a receptionist. What are the use cases? Schedule patient appointment is one use case. Schedule patient admission, hospital admission is another. Patient registration, patient hospital admission, file insurance claim, form or claim, file medical reports. These are the different use cases they are doing. If you see, patient registration is the main use case. Patient registration extend or uses schedule patient hospital admission and schedule patient appointment, right? Extending to that. So that means this will be patient registration will be using schedule patient hospital admission, and it will be using schedule patient appointment, right? And patient registration includes patient hospital admission. It will include the patient hospital admission. There are two types of patient hospital admission. That is, this is generalization: outpatient hospital admission, inpatient hospital. Inpatient hospital admission includes the bed allotment, right? And there will be others are file insurance and file medical. So this is how extend and include is done, right? This is the best example you can have. So now where to use case diagram? So different types of diagrams are used to model the dynamic behavior of system in UML. Each model has a specific purpose. Use case diagram is used to collect the system requirement and actors. So it specifies the flow and event of a system, but remember that use case never describe the details of the system, such as how behavior is implemented. All the input, output, and function are mentioned inside the black box. So this information is very useful for high-level design. So you just need to analyze the requirements, prepare the model or use case diagram. That means you only need to design that what are the actors and what are the use cases and how they are interacting. That's all. That is what use case diagram is. The use case diagram is a dash behavior. Is both static or dynamic? Both static and dynamic, or static or dynamic? Which one? So it's a dynamic behavior actually. Which element is not part of the use case diagram? So class is not part of a use case diagram. An actor is a part of dash system. An actor is a part of It can be both internal and external. Actors can be both internal and external, right? Which is not a type of dependency. So remove is not a type of dependency. Exclude is also not there. Exclude is also not there, and remove is also not there. Draw an automated trading housing system for use case. Right? So you have to automated trading housing system. You have to make a use case for that. That is one thing. Then they are talking about another diagram of behavioral or dynamic diagram, which is interaction diagram. Interaction diagram contains a set of objects and their relationship, including the messages with them. That means you are passing messages, you are interacting, the classes are interacting, or the objects are interacting with each other. That is interaction diagram. It is used to model the dynamic behavior of the system. It includes sequence diagram and collaboration diagrams. The primary difference between class diagram and interaction diagram is that class diagram describes the structure while the other describes the behavior. So you have two types of interaction diagram, sequence diagram and collaboration diagram. Right. So they are talking about the interaction diagram, which is describing the behavior of the system. So first diagram which is there of interaction is sequence diagram. A sequence diagram describes the sequence order of interaction between objects. It also describes how performance is accomplished of the objects in a system. It flows from left to right. These diagrams focus on time and show the order of the interaction by applying the vertical axis of the diagram to represent time and what messages are sent and when. So the sequence diagram focused on a time sequence of messages, while the collaboration diagram focused on the structural organization of objects that send and receive messages. Right. So they have not shown the four. There are four sequence diagram: customer, food order, lunch order, and breakfast order. Again, they are talking about the same. But if we have to show you the diagram, they have not shown the diagram. For the sequence diagram, if we have to show, I'm just showing you the diagram. One example of a diagram in this. So this way you will show the sequence or the objects. The objects will be there like this, right? And or you can have an actor, but we will be talking about, or you can have an entity also, but we will be talking about objects only generally, right? So like here, so this object will interact with this object. How it will interact? It will send a message. So this is a message it is sending, right? So this is called message caller activation bar, and this is called message receiver activation bar. You don't have to write it; they are just giving you a note that this is the activation bar of the caller, and this is the activation bar of the receiver. So this is the way you will send messages. So you have synchronous message, a simple arrow like this. So this is a synchronous message, right? And you can have asynchronous message like this. You can, that means you the object, you are not interacting with object 2, you are directly going to object 3. That is asynchronous message. You can also have a return message, like you are giving a synchronous message, and a return message with a dotted line will be the return message that you have received or whatever, right? Then you can also create an object while one object is giving a message to the other, and first object creates another object. You can do that. That is known as a participant creation message. So participant creation message is there. So you're creating another object. With that, participation destruction message is also there, that you are destroying this object. Object 2 is being destroyed here, right? Or object 3 is destroyed by, right? You can also have reflexive message. That means messaging to itself. That means I'm messaging to the object itself. That is reflexive message. You can give a comment also for the objects. You can give a comment also. That is there. So sequence diagram will show you the sequence of like here. This is a sequence diagram to show two alternate. You can for the bank they are showing for the bank. A bank is there, check is there, a checking account is there, right? So bank get the amount from the check, right? So my message is sent from to the check that get the amount, right? Then the bank gets the balance from the account, that the amount written in the check the balance is there or not. So get balance is given. This is an asynchronous, that it is going directly to the checking account. So this get balance message is given to checking account. The checking account gives a return message to the bank that balance is this much. Now there is an alternate means combination of things which will be there. That alternate is that if the balance is greater than equal to the amount, if the balance is greater than equal to the amount, then you can add debit transaction, check number and account. So you will that means you can debit from the account the amount given in the check book. So this method will be run, right? And then store the photo of the check. Your photo of the check will be stored. This is another thing in the checking account. Your balance will be debited, and your photo is saved in the checking account. This is the first one option or the condition. The second condition, if else balance is less than the amount, balance is not greater than the amount. If it is less, this is the second condition. Then you will say add. You will run the function called add insufficient fund fee. That means the amount is less. Your balance is not there. So and then you will note the return check. Again, you will note down the return check in the checking account that this check is being returned because your amount is insufficient, and you will return the check to the bank. This is how they have. This is how what is a process is explained in the sequence diagram. Sequence wise, what all things are happening. This is what is shown in a sequence diagram. Right? Again, here also customer is there, ATM is there, bank is there. So this is explained. ATM system is explained here. The customer sends a message to withdraw cash, and it gives the account number and amount to the ATM machine. ATM machine gives a message to the bank that you get the balance of this account number, right? So the balance is looked up, and return message is given back to the ATM that this is the balance which is there. Then again, a condition is applied by the ATM. If the balance is greater than the amount, then the debit is done, right? And a return message is given to the ATM that this amount is debited, and the cash is the ATM gives a message to the customer to collect the cash. This is one way. Else also you can make. Else if the balance is less than, if the balance is less than the amount, then the debit card is returned back. The cash cannot be withdrawn. So that kind of a message is given. So this is what sequence diagram is. Right? This is how sequence diagram is represented. So then we talk about collaboration diagram. Another interaction diagram is collaboration diagram, which represents elements as they interact over time and how they are related, as shown in figure this, in the form of organization. So in collaboration diagram, the method called sequence is indicated by some numeric technique. So like you have seen the sequence diagram, one by one the messages are passing and how the system is working. Same way collaboration diagram is there, but it is not shown like a sequence diagram. It is shown with a numeric sequence number will be there. After this will happen. After this will happen. This kind of a thing. Number indicates how the methods are called one after another. That is what is there. They have not shown it in this. Again, we will take another sequence diagram also. Sorry. The collaboration diagram. If we go to the collaboration diagram first. So in collaboration diagram, it will be like, this. So suppose there is some actor or object, whatever. So one by one, how one message is passed to one object, then a second message is passed, then third is passed, then fourth is passed. How the messages are passing, this is how you show up. So you have object, actor, link, messages. So these are the notations used in your collaboration diagram. For example, if we go for an example like here, window interface, user interface is there. Window, through the window you make a first messages, you make a reservation, and make a reservation goes to the train chain, uh, right? In a train, and then second message is make reservation. You go to a train for reservation. Check, then third message is you check the seats. Is the seats available? If the seats are available, you do reservation, right? A notice confirmation is sent, right? Then the seat fourth is the self link that the train seat is reserved here. This kind of a thing. Numbering is there in the messages. That is what collaboration diagram is doing. Sequence numbers are given here. That is what is given in this, right? So again, they have asked you check progress question. Interaction diagram consists of objects and classes, you can say. What is a sequence diagram? A sequence diagram is an object method. It is a sequence, right? What is collaboration diagram? Object diagram, class diagram, method diagram, none of them. So object, it is none of them, because it is not a object diagram also, class diagram or method diagram also. Then another, so you have to draw a collaboration diagram for student management system. I don't know, they have given you at the back, they have not given the proper thing here. So student management system, you can say student register in a student, different forms of student registration system you can show here. I will show you an example later on. But right now we are talking about the another diagram which is there in the interaction diagram is activity diagram. So in an activity diagram, like you draw a flow chart, if you have, if you know about algorithm and flow chart. So if you design a flow chart, you draw how you draw a flow chart the similar way you draw an activity diagram, right? So activity diagram is one of the important diagram used for modeling dynamic aspect of the system. It shows the flow from one activity to another activity. It is an ongoing process within a state machine. Therefore, these processes may be performed as sequential, branched, or concurrent. It deals with various types of flow control by using various control nodes. So diagram consists of activities, link, relationship, etc. Activity diagram are the same as previous diagram. It captures the dynamic behavior of the system. Activity diagram is used to express, manage flow from one activity to another in a flow chart. It's just like a flow chart. So you have initial state or start point. A dark circle is a start point. Activity or action state is like a rounded rectangle kind of a thing. It is represent the uninterruptible action of objects, right? Then action flow will be your line flow of information. Object flow, so like fill order, receive order. So fill order to order, and from order to receive order, like that. Object flow from one to another is flowing. Flow final node. So if you have to go to the final node, you will show it like this. It shows a circle with a cross indicate. It shows the end of a single control flow. So if you want to show a single action to end, so this is how you show. Then if you want to show a decision, a diamond box is there to show a decision that this will happen, or if yes, then this will happen. If no, then this will happen, right? Then time event is shown like this. This is a time event that refers to an event that stops the flow for a time, right? Merge event is that some of the activities are merging at one. So this is how it is shown, merge event. A diamond, it is all the activities are merging to a diamond. Synchronization of fork node is used to split an incoming flow into multiple simultaneous flows. So suppose if you have to show that this activity is flowing into different activities, so you will show it like this, or you will, if it is merging to one. So that is synchronization, right? Then signal is shown like this. This is a symbol for signal. Swim lanes is also there, but we will not be talking about that. So this is your final state, end state. That filled circle outside a hollow circle is your final state, end of the activity. Right. Now, how to draw an activity diagram is you have to identify all the activities, identify the actors, and then the flow, how the activities are flowing, identify all the constraints and refine constraints or conditions which are there, refine complemented activities and nested activities of a diagram. So here they have not shown it accordingly. So you have send order by customer, receipt of the customer, confirm the order, dispatch the order. So this is there they are showing. So in the above diagram, the customer sends an order request. So this is a start activity. Yeah, here you will say order request, right? Order request, confirm for the receipt of the order, verify the condition of the order if it is a lunch or breakfast order. So here the confirmation is there, then it will check whether the order, this is a condition, whether the order is a what order? Order is a lunch order or a breakfast order. So you will have two activities. One is a lunch order, the other is a breakfast order. They have not shown it like that, but if it is a lunch order or a breakfast order, so you will show it two activities which are there. Forking, synchronization you will show. After verifying the condition of the order activity to confirm the order is performed, dispatch the order, and then so if it is lunch order, then what will you do? If it is breakfast order, then what will you do? So according to the condition, you will check and you will deliver the order. This is the end of the activity. This is what they are showing. But if I have to show you activity diagram, so if I have to show you activity diagram and example, so like this one, if I show you. So client, so this is the starting point. This is your start. Then first is client enters login name and password if the client is registered. So this is a comment they have given. If the client is registered, client enters login name and password. This is the first thing after start activity. This is the first activity which is there. Just hold on for a second. Yeah, sorry. So I was showing you one thing. Yeah. So if it is it enters name and password. If it is correct login, and it will check whether it is a correct login and password. Right. If yes, then client successfully logs in. If no, then invalid login and password, and it goes back to the client enters login name and password. If you are successfully logged in, then the client settings are displayed, and that is the end of the activity. Client logs in the system. This is the comment given. This is what activity diagram does. This is how you show the activity diagram. Right? There is another diagram which is known as crude analysis. So crude analysis, it is one of the useful techniques to identify the basic objects in the problem domain. The crude analysis is used to create various activities of an object in the project domain and collaborate in support of use case analysis. So crude is a short form. Crude full form, C is create, R is read, U is update, D is delete, and E is execute. Create and store new data, retrieve and read data, update, change or modify the stored data, delete or remove the data, and execute the data. So it is a way of representation to capture various activities and permissions within a system. So you have to create a crude matrix actually, that how things are created, read or updated or deleted. That is what is shown. So the table below shows a publishing service model to capture the information. In this case, the actors are manager, writer, editor, and publish. This model supports all crude, create, read, update, delete, and execute instances. Especially a manager can create and delete instance but cannot read, update, and execute. Editor can read and update instances of a crude matrix. So here's a publishing service they have explained, and there are actors or action role: manager, writer, editor, and publish. So manager can create and delete the instance in a publishing service. Writer can create also, read also, update also, delete also, but he cannot execute. He can create, read, update, and delete. Editor can read and update. Publisher can read, update, and execute. So this kind of a crude matrix also you can create, crude analysis. So this is crude analysis, which has a full form. So these are the different diagrams which are there in your dynamic or behavioral diagrams which are there. So activity diagram is used to mode dynamic behavior, right? The activity diagram initial start state can be shown by a filled circle. Start, initial start. Then activities define the dash of the model. Activities define the control flow, business flow, control flow, workflow, all of the above. They show all of the above. The crude analysis does not perform the activities. Report, create, update, delete, execute. These are the things. Read, not report, it is read. R for read. So report is not there. Draw an activity diagram for email processing. So they are saying you make an activity diagram for email processing. So these are the things which are there in your block 2, block 1 unit, unit 1, 2, and 3 we have seen, right? Then we will go to block 1 unit 4 and 5 we will do in the next class, and we will go to block 2 then, right? And we will read the next parts. In the practical sessions, meanwhile, you can download the Star UML software. It will be used for some of the days, certain time period, and you can use that, right? Any doubts anybody is having in the class? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
While making the diagram, if you will be facing any doubts, we will be clearing it when we will be doing the practical session. So you will be clearing the doubts whatever you have while creating your diagram, right?
Right, ma'am.
So everybody has put their attendance in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
If you want, then you can go to the website of IGNOU for those who want to know how the question papers are there for object-oriented analysis, right? You can say IGNOU question papers. So, or you can go to the website also. So you can. So here they will be giving you question papers of different years, right? Like right now they have not up because June 2025 still not happened. December also they have not uploaded yet, but June 2024 papers you can go for. Just say Control F and you can say SOCIS. That is School of Computer and Information Sciences. Under that, MCA, BCA, PGDCA, whatever courses are there. So SOCIS you have to search. Then in that you go to your MCA new, and you can say object oriented analysis and design. This is a paper, so you can download the papers from there, the theory papers. So it is a 3 hours paper, 100 marks. First question will be compulsory, and you have to attempt any 3 out of the rest, right? So first question says, what is object-oriented modeling? List advantages of object-oriented modeling. Explain various stages in object-oriented modeling. Second is, what is time-critical system? Explain how objects communicate in time-critical system. Also explain the need of synchronization in time-critical system. C is what is persistent object? How is it different from transient object? D is what are derived attributes? Discuss the role that they play in design optimization. This is the first question 1, which is compulsory, A, B, C, D, E. Right? Second question is second, third, fourth, fifth, apart 2, 3, 4, 5, you have to attempt any 3. So what is a collaboration diagram? Explain how methods are created from collaboration diagram with the help of an example. What is design optimization? Explain the task to be performed. So these are the what is abstraction? Explain how abstraction results in modularity. What is DFD? Draw 0 and 1 level DFD for online examination system. Fourth is what is dynamic model? Explain the use of dynamic model as a suitable example. What is use case diagram? Various components of use case. Draw use case for online examination system. And fifth is write short notes on the following: aggregation, integrity constraint, implementation control, object model. This is the question paper. Right? Anybody has any doubt?
No, ma'am.
So you can download the previous year, previous 5-year question papers, and you can study that. So you will be having another class. So we can end the class right now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. I'm just leaving the session. You can join the other part, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Right. Take care. We'll meet tomorrow.
Sure, ma'am.